have a bucket and I want to fill it with gold using this. You would be forgiven for thinking that the hardest part of prospecting would be finding gold. It's actually finding a backpack that fits all your stuff. Might I suggest you buy a backpack with lots of optional extras and some carabiners. And if you're filming, don't worry about how not horizontal the background is. Just go for the cool rapper leaning shot. Tighten! Oh yeah, I got an entire wash plan on my back today because I found a spot that should give me good gold if I can move dirt. Oh yeah! High bankers just like this one are amazing. They're little mini wash plants that hobbyists and enthusiasts can come out to the creek with to get more gold easier. I say easier, but to be completely honest, there is a little bit more effort and work that goes into setting one of these bad boys up. But if you can get past that, then that's true. This is essentially an automatic pan. It does exactly the same thing as that, but using spray bars and a matting system. You're going to hear multiple YouTube gold prospectors, old hands at this, and miners all talk about how the most important part of your entire system is going to be what mat you choose to run in this. It's not. It's actually the hopper. This is only a 6-inch wide unit, meaning that the mat here isn't very big, but it's more than capable of catching and processing a lot of dirt. The thing that dictates how much dirt you can put down it is actually the hopper. And Stumpy Picks has come up with a brilliant design in their hopper. The spray bars are protected by these pieces of metal, meaning that you'll never get a rock jam anywhere in behind the bars. Beyond that, we've got a completely open box. That means that dirt can fall through right from the top all the way to the bottom. Most high bankers only have an open section at this point here. That slows down your ability to process dirt. So even though this is a 6-inch, it runs more like an 8-inch, meaning you can process more dirt with less weight and less gear to carry around. And lastly, one of the best things that he came up with is the fact that the bars actually move, meaning that you can clear rock jams like we've got up here a lot easier than having to manually pick them out with your fingers, because you can just give this a little flick. Oh, daddy. Oh, that's so not level. Leveling high bankers is one of my least favorite jobs. There we go. Yeah. So many people worry about how many inches they've got to drop over how many feet. I just look at the water. If it looks good, I full send it and then test for loss later. Sometimes it even works. Let me just shovel a few spoonfuls of dirt into Gary over there, and then I'll show you a test pan. High bankers were my Cinderella story. I had to try and find a high banker that actually met my needs. It needed to fit into a backpack. It needed to be not that heavy. I didn't want to transport batteries around, but I still wanted the ability to process large amounts of soil relatively easily. And it wasn't until this high banker that I felt like most of my needs had finally been met. This is like entering the dating scene in your 30s. It's a majestic wild Zach. And an almost as majestic Mick. The overburden in this spot goes maybe 1 to 3 specks a pan. It's not that good, it's really not worth processing, except for the fact that it has a lot of garnets in it, so that's why we are kind of moving it. The other thing is, when you're dealing with a lot of overburden like this, the faster you can get it out of the way, the better off you are. But the clay is going up to 50 specks a pan, so that's what we're trying to get to, which I have none of in here. That's a lot better. Oh, it's so sticky, doesn't even get off! As with all gold prospecting, there is never, ever, ever any guarantees that you're going to stay on the pay streak. I just know that in this spot you can get half an ounce to an ounce a day using a machine like this in the right spots. And because there's so much overburden, it's been kept safe from all the other prospectors like me and Mick and Zach. This pan only had a tiny, tiny bit of clay in it, and we got some nice gold. And I managed to get that as a spec count. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 good sized flakes. You probably can't see that because I'm using the world's worst close-up camera, a GoPro. A GoPro. Brought to you by Californian weed laws. That's the stuff we actually want, right there. Look, I found gold. There it is. High bankers are really only worth using in certain spots. If you have a lot of volume of dirt, you should be using a high banker. If you only have like 5 or 10 buckets worth of dirt, just use a river sluice or a pan. Instead of having to buy a really expensive backpack, dragging a heavy high banker and pump to the creek to do a lot of work. Here at Vo-Gus Prospecting, we believe in getting rewarded for the work you put in. You don't want to process just 5 buckets worth of dirt with a high banker, you want to process 50 or 500. That way you get more gold. We've run maybe 25 shovels. Time to turn that off. Check what's in the deep clay.
Look at all the wash in it.
I hope there's gold in that. And just look at the mat and see what it looks like. Oh, that's better, I can hear. One of the things I love about this high banker is you can just do the quick disconnect and the head opens 100% of the way so you can look in. This creek is very different. We've still got tin like we do on Reedy Creek, but it's a different kind of tin, a different purity level. So it's a lot lighter than Reedy Creek tin. You don't get the same sort of accumulations in there. I'm just looking to see if I can't spot any gold. Most of the gold the first time I ran this high banker actually ended up underneath the Jarvie Riffle, which is exactly where you want it. Like we want most of our gold to land here, and this is just our in case thing, just in case it decides to try and f off. And I can actually see a little tiny piece of gold down in that hole there, right down the bottom. Neat. So there's one there. Oh, and there. Yay! We've got at least 2 golds, Mick. Two! We're allowed to smell a Snickers. Mick's pointing out all the garnets I can't see. I'm red-green colorblind, so everything looks identical to me. But apparently you guys are going to be able to see some red things in there. Oh, look at the size of that one. Ha! Neato. Garnet is a byproduct of hunting for the gold here, and gold is a byproduct of hunting for the garnet here. I like them because I put them in my Paydirt bags. I can't really see them or appreciate them, but everyone else seems to. I got a gold. I'll put it back. I'll put it back. My bulldog clips on the end now have mullets. They've officially joined the FAs. Kids these days, I don't know.
I only got some bad news.
Have we got bad news?
We have to process that shit.
Wait, what? Why? Fuck. Alright, well, shit. So we have to process clay now.
Mud. It's worse than clay.
Normally you would get clay and then you'd scrape the top because that's where the gold would settle, but in this case, it's in it.
See what this is? It's in this stuff.
This is going to take hours.
Golden clay is not rare, but normally gold will sit on top of the clay because of friction. So to get a lot of gold in the clay, nice and deep like, means a lot of extra work. And with Mick confirming that the gold was indeed inside of the clay, not just on top, we set about grating our fingers down to the bone.
Our supervisor is taking a rest, and that means I can do a sneaky test pan of, well, exactly what Mick did, but in the potato pan, because I love that thing. Oh. If this is on Reedy Creek, I would ignore this clay because the gold isn't dense enough to penetrate into it, but here the gold has shape, and so it seems to penetrate into the clay. It's heavier because there's more of it. This doesn't feel right. Yeah, that black silvery stuff.
It's almost organic.
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't think this is going to have anything in it because this is just clay. I already washed it in the high banker. We should find out though. Mick's doing some of the grey, more organic clay that we got that really good pan from. I've done the really smooth grey one. That entire lump of clay dissolved down to that. That's it. That's all of it. That's nothing. Absolutely nothing. I will be super surprised if there is anything at all in that grey clay because there's no rock. 2 nanos, so it's not in that grey clay. That is exactly why we test pan, because there's no point running that into the machine. We can dig on top of it, hopefully just into this stuff.
There were 2 different layers of clay. An organic layer that had lots of leaf debris, sticks and rock embedded in it, and then a smooth grey layer closer to the bedrock. I'd already confirmed there was nothing in the smooth grey clay, so we could discard it. But what we'd ultimately discover was that we were working a very narrow pay streak, where the good gold was only in one tiny section.
Oh no, that's even worse than the other one. There's a lesson in this, and the lesson is that you got to actually pay attention to your layers. So it's probably sitting right between the gravel and the first several inches of that nice black grey clay that we've got going on. So once we get a shovel head or so into that, we don't need to work it anymore, which is good because my meat scoops are hurting already. Go up. I didn't know my hose was into BDSM. I mean, we don't kink shame around here, but I'll straighten it out.
Now that we'd kind of confirmed where the gold was and wasn't sitting, it was back to shoveling. High banking is all about processing power. The more you shovel, the more you'll get, so long as you stay on the pay streak.
Sporadic good gold though. Every time I take a test pan off the surface of the clay, we end up with nice chunks. That's probably 30 or 40 Reedy Creek flakes because of how thick they are. Motivation, Mick.
Oh yeah, nice size.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice. They're double in size.
Yeah. Easy. Just off the surface of the clay. And how much trust do you have in your high banker? I have this much trust. Yeah. That was just stopping to have a liquid death, which looks like a beer. It's really expensive. And it's just water in a can. I'm not sponsored, but since Dare didn't want to sponsor me, maybe Liquid Death will jump on board. Do you want a prospector on your team? I mean, I deal in this stuff every day. I was just trying to get some hydration, and I looked in the mat and I thought, yep, we're getting some really good coarse tin, lots of little garnets. It's looking great. Looking up here for pieces of gold, and there was a couple of very, very fine flakes of gold in this riffle just here. And then I was looking at the Jarvie riffle. Now, more than 70% of our gold is going to be caught in this Jarvie riffle. When I did my last high banking session, I lifted that Jarvie riffle plate up, I took the minus moss out, and the bed of the sluice was covered in gold. That video should have already been released by now. So it does not surprise me to spot a little nugget. Look at that, right there. I don't even know how big that is. I'm going to call it a little nugget because, yeah, gold in my area is super fine, but man, you can see that from miles. You can see that on the GoPro. That's how big that thing is. Oh, look at that. Now, can I pick it up? That's the other question, because I got fat man fingers. Hey, yeah. Well, okay, I take it back. It's not a nugget. It's a good little picker, though. Now we're really going to invoke the gods. I'm holding it above the water to show Nick.
Ooh.
Legally, I have to put this back, so it can just go in there.
This is one shovel.
I was like, oh, it doesn't look that good. And then I actually looked at the pan and used my eyeballs as opposed to like my assumptions.
Always doubting.
Always doubting. Yeah, I'll take it back, Mick. That's looking pretty good. Man, if we're putting a shovel like that through, if we're putting like 4 or 5 shovels like that through a minute.
Well, every shovel that I put in was from that spot.
Yeah, probably 30% of mine.
Minus the rocks that I pulled out.
Yeah, they don't count. It's finally time for my non-sponsored lunch break. That means I've got to be my own sponsor. If you want to help support the channel, you can do one of two things. Join Patreon, who have been massively helpful in allowing me to make videos for the last 8 years. Or you can jump down to my website where we sell Paydirt, real gold from creeks just like this, and gemstones from $25 all the way up to $300. So whatever floats your boat, scratches your itch. Other euphemism, we probably got it on the old moldy. Links in the description. We have had to move a lot of overburden to get to this. I'm thigh deep now. It's good. Hard day's work. Hopefully there's more than 30 cents of gold in the sluice box. Get in the sluice. Mostly.
And it had been a great day's work. Mick and I had spent about 6 hours processing dirt through the stumpy high banker. Most of that time was spent removing large rocks out of the clay bed. But with our test pans getting a little bit more sporadic, it was time to start considering whether or not we wanted to empty out the high banker. Normally when we get to this stage, it's all about doing a few more test pans to make sure there is still good gold worth processing.
Mick and I have both moved a tremendous amount of dirt, and it's very rocky, hard digging. You can see just the disparity between the massive amount of oversize compared to the tiny little bit of stuff that actually goes through the sluice box. When you're in a situation where you're digging like this, it's extremely tiring and you don't want to be working dirt that just doesn't have enough gold in it. And our test pans have got very sporadic. From what I can see though, we have managed to collect a lot of heavies because the mat is now actually starting to look black. It's starting to fill up with that heavier tin, which is good. It's what we want. This offers friction to protect our gold. But again, you've got to be running dirt that has gold in it to be warranting doing more of it. Sometimes, sometimes we prayed to the gods of rock, Lemmy, Michael Hutchins, Amy Winehouse,
27 Club.
the 27 Club, because they're done with their rocks. So we thought we could have them. And Mick invoked, and then he got that for a single test pan. That's a single freaking pan. I put about 20 of them in there.
Easily. All from that spot.
Thank you, Amy Winehouse.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lemmy.
Oh,
Holy crap. Just gonna finger your gold.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I can feel them. I can't do it. I actually need to know. I need to know. Time for the long thread. Oh, that wasn't as long as I thought. The real trick is to not lose your bolt. Now to get this out, and it is proper wedged with gold. I'm saying that facetiously, but I reckon there's going to be a good take in here. Ah, gotcha. All right. I've switched to my phone camera because we can get detailed shots. I can see gold on top, but the gold on top is nothing to what I have seen in this mat in my first run. But actually I take that back. That is ridiculous. There is gold all through that minus moss. When I first did this, the first time I ever ran this particular unit, I lifted this piece of blue moss up and it was loaded. We have gold all up here. We have gold over here.
Yeah, all up through there.
All through the middle though is super rich with gold. It's kind of hard to show you on camera because of the angles, but there is gold all through it. I hope it's a repeat. It might not be. It might all be caught in here. You ready?
Muddy.
Oh no. No, Mick. Look.
Look at the chunks.
Look.
Look at all that.
It's a repeat. It's full. Oh, it's full.
Oh, look at that corner.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. It is full of gold. So, last time I just did this. We got a pan underneath this too. So don't stress about that little hole. Oh my god. Alright.
Oh,
that
yeah.
can. Oh, it's still on my hand. Mick, can you splosh a little bit of water onto my hand?
Sploosh.
Thank you. Oh, I left some. I left some behind. No gold's left behind.
All up there. All up there.
I'll tip the water into the hopper. You still have to plug that hole. Oh, there's a little bit left there. Yeah.
Specky too.
That's probably the most expensive piece of miners moss in the northeast at the moment. You never clean up high banker cons on a creek ever, because you will lose gold. So, I can hear it. Can you hear it?
Mm-hmm. Run like it's.
Moment of truth. Let's just swing this back real rough. Have a look. One-handed pan backs too. They never work out as well as two-handed taps.
Oh yeah, chunky too.
Oh, that's only the top mat. Oh my god.
That's chunky. Look at the size of some of them.
Yeah, that's a couple grams minimum. I suppose I better do that. It's hard to though because I don't really. There's probably $400 or $500 worth of gold there. Every riffle has gold in it. Every one at the top. As I said earlier, most of the gold is caught right up the top underneath the Jarvie riffle. So this is the entirety of the gold that we got out of the mesh. It just shows how an efficient setup is working really well. What we are seeing in the mesh, however, is garnets and heaps of them. We're definitely gonna have to pick through them at home. They are super chunky.
Yeah. There's some weight in those.
There's the coarse gold.
They're not even rolling, moving, budging, floating.
Even the fine gold isn't moving.
No, it's chunky.
Who else dries their gold in a dehydrator? Do you? Hello, Pan. Nice. Real nice. I've got a new obsession of trying to find ground that I can run that high banker on because it is just that good. I know this probably sounds like a sales pitch, but it is a pleasure to run after all these years of trying multiple different high bankers. And the simple fact is, it works. This is the results we got for that little run that we did, and I am over the moon with that. I found a lot more gold in that area since then. So if you're not already, consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future gold prospecting adventures. And if you're already subscribed, check your subscription because YouTube still be doing that weird unsubscribing people thing. Freaking frustrating. The best part about this spot is that the gold is coarse and chunky. Even the very fine gold has some shape about it. It's pretty much guaranteed to scratch your gold fever itch. And that's not all I got. I got these. These are some of the large garnets that I managed to recover at the same time. I'm going to find the big one day, and in fact I've got a video coming up where I go on nothing but a garnet hunt and I find some pretty good stones. There is a mad storm raging outside, so I can't show you the beautiful colours in the natural daylight. I will, however, put up some photos for you to look at where I took on the day. Mini pan? Yeah. There is a decent pile of gold in here. I would like to think we have more than 3 grams. In the past, I've managed to pull over 7 grams in one day panning there. So I think we're going to go for 3.2 grams. Leave your guess in the comments below. And make sure you hit that like button before we finish weighing it up. Half gram. 1 gram, and we've still got heaps to go. I reckon we're going to get to 3. That's 2 grams. Damn, I reckon we're gonna be closer to 4. 3 grams. Now remember, gold is 122 Australian dollars at the time of recording, and that means we're already over $360. 3, can we do the 4? We're gonna be able to do the 4, surely. We'll be bloody close. 9, we're gonna do it. 4. 4.3, basically on the dot. Woo! 4.3 grams! It's pretty rare that you get to make the clickbait true. 4.3 grams at the time of recording is worth about 500 Australian dollars, which is a ridiculously good take of gold considering the amount of effort put in and the size of the machine we were using. All of this gold and those garnets are going into my Paydirt bags up on theoldmoldy.com.au right now.